And now, for the week of June 12th, Adobe Photoshop TV is on the air.
Welcome to Adobe Photoshop TV from the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And here's your host, the Photoshop guys, Scott Helby, Dave Cross, and Matt Plaskowski.
Welcome, everyone, to another derelict episode of Adobe Photoshop TV, brought to you by the fine folks at the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, the people we call NAP.
This week's episode is sponsored by Logitech, DLO, CDW, and iStockPhoto.com.
Well, we're glad to see you guys here. We are back for another exciting week, and the guys are back. So Matt and Dave are both back
gone
here.
So long, you can't even remember.
Who are these guys?
We're reunited.
They're back from their travels, and we have got a great show put together for you because they had 2 weeks to do nothing. So, all right, Matt, what did you bring today?
I have got part 2 of my interview with the folks over at Adobe from, you saw part 1 last week, so I've got part 2 this week, and I've also got a way for you to back up your photos. So it's a very common question, so I'm going to show you one way to back them up, keep them safe.
Mr. Krosky.
Very good. Well, I have a technique where if you have a sky that just is kind of boring and you want to add some clouds into it that look realistic, a little more realistic way than just using the render clouds filter alone.
That is realistic. I brought something. I can't quite remember what it was. Oh, yeah, I brought a tutorial for photographers on how to fix a lens problem. But before we get to that, we've got some big news. In the month of May, Photoshop TV hit 2 million downloads.
Wow.
So
Thank you.
It was all one guy.
One guy many times.
Yeah, in Indiana.
We appreciate your help,
over
though.
and over and over again.
It was nice of him.
He's really busy. But thank you to our viewers all around the world. Speaking of that, I was in Stockholm, Sweden this last week speaking at Adobe Live, and we have a little preview of that coming up a little later, too. So we'll be going to Stockholm and taking a little quick look behind the scenes at Adobe Live.
Sweet.
But not before we turn things over to our friend from Canada, Mr. Dave Cross, to start us off with his tip.
All right, sir. Well, what I've done here is I've already taken the original sky out because it was just basically a boring blue. So I've put that on a layer by itself, as you can see here. And now I want to start building up something that resembles a little more interesting sky. So I'm just going to choose a couple of colors that might be sky-like. Red and green, because that's always good for a sky.
You said interesting sky.
Well, not that interesting. The
Okay.
sky part really isn't the interesting part. Hopefully it's the cloud part that's the more interesting. So I'm on what used to be my background layer, so I've just added some nice blue in there. And now we're going to add another new layer, and I'm going to press D to get back to my default color. So I still need to use render clouds, but I need to do it in a way that's a little more interesting, and ultimately a little more interesting, hopefully. So first of all, we'll just use the render clouds filter and just say, yeah, that looks pretty good right there. And let me hide.
How would you
these
know if
other
it
layers.
didn't look good?
Well, because that's the thing with render clouds. It's different every time. So you just always you run it and you say, yes, that will
perfect
do
filter.
nicely. Now we're going to run levels. So I'm pressing Command or Control L. And I'm just going to take this mid-tone triangle and move it down somewhere in the 50-ish range. And then go to the Select menu, select Color Range. And from the menu of choices, I'm going to choose Midtones. So that's going to give me a selection which hopefully will fit the bill. So now we can get rid of this layer, get back to our blue and our building, and I'm going to add a new layer to which I will simply fill that with white. Now white is my background color, so I can press Command Delete, which would be Control Backspace, and I get clouds which are a little more interesting looking. Now just to take it a little step further, let's add a layer mask to that, and then do our render clouds to that. And then we can invert that, or we can use levels and play with that to lighten or darken it to see what we like. And one way or another, we get some clouds which just look a little more, not like that, a little more realistic than just using the render clouds filter alone.
Very cool, Mr. Cross. Very, very neat. A very unusual way. Usually I would just wait for hours until actually clouds moved in. So that's very, very cool. All right, hey, we're going to kick things over to that little spotlight, I don't know what we're calling it, our on-scene report from Adobe Live in Stockholm, Sweden. So take it away, me. Well, hi, everybody. Here we are in beautiful Stockholm, Sweden. We're just getting ready to start Adobe Live here. Now, it's kind of a rainy day here. It's been beautiful all week, but today it's kind of rainy. But luckily for us, Adobe Live takes place inside. Come on, I'll let you take a look. All right, here we are inside the main presentation theater. My session starts in about 15 minutes, so I got to go. But while I'm getting ready, we're going to take on a little quick tour around the rest of Adobe Live so you can see some of the vendors and what's going on downstairs. I'll see you guys in a little while. Yeah, we're taking a little segment for it right now. Well, just finished my session. It went great. The people here were just wonderful. I can't tell you how many people I met that say they watch us all the time on Photoshop TV. In fact, a woman came up and said, "I watch you guys almost religiously." I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, we had a great time. Tomorrow I'm off to do a pro photographers event on the other side of Stockholm, and then the next day I have to fly home. Well, anyway, we had a great time. I hope you enjoyed this look at Adobe Live from Stockholm, Sweden. And now back to the studio. Well, thanks, me, for that fascinating report. I really enjoyed listening to me. Hey, I just want to mention, though, I will be back in Europe, in Amsterdam, actually, on June 20th and 21st for Adobe Live in Amsterdam. So if you're out there, please stop in. One of the cool things I really enjoyed about Adobe Live in Stockholm was actually meeting so many people that watch Photoshop TV. People were coming up left and right, asking me questions like, where are Matt and Dave? Where's Dave? Where's Matt? You know,
travel together.
Like, yeah, we go everywhere together. We go to lunch together usually, but not always necessarily just on vacation and to other gigs. So hope you guys will join me there in Amsterdam. Speaking of Amsterdam, I don't know why I said that. We have Matt Kloskowski here, who is right beside me. And he has got, now remember last week we actually looked at we started looking at the bridge services, and we did the photo stamps and the books and some of the cool things. And so each week for the next few weeks we're going to look at some of these, because these are some of the really hidden gems of the bridge I don't think a lot of people know about. And once you start messing with these, I can't tell you how many emails I got about like the photo stamps things and the books. And,
Definitely.
I mean, everybody's into it, but you have to know it's there. So today we're going to uncover Iron Mountain.
Iron Mountain.
Iron
Sounds
Mountain.
very impressive.
It's very impressive, but it's pretty cool.
What's cool about it is there's a lot of cool things about it, but one of them is, so we get so many questions from people about, you know, what's our workflow process? You know, what are we doing to our photos? And the very first thing they ask is, how do I back up my photos? What do you guys do for archiving and saving? So one of the things that I do, and I know Scott does the same thing, is when I'm out on a shoot, I've got my laptop, I've got this little USB, it's about 120, 150 gig USB hard drive. So I'll dump everything onto the laptop, and then I'll copy it over onto the USB drive. So now I've got some pretty good backups of my photos while I'm away. But now you get back home and everything else is in your house. Well, the problem there is what happens if your house gets robbed, God forbid, some catastrophe happens. Now everything's gone. So that's where Iron Mountain comes in, because that's your online backup. So it's an off-site backup, so it allows you to get things away from your home, and you can keep them a little bit more safe.
Well, plus you have access to your things.
You have
when you're
access,
not home.
and that's the other cool part about it. Is exactly you can access this from anywhere, any computer. So,
And it works from the bridge, right?
and it works right from the bridge. So
I'm saying right, like I don't know. Does it work from the bridge, Matt? Wow.
no, it doesn't work from the bridge. It's you have
It's interesting.
No, it actually works right from the bridge. So what you're going to do is open up Bridge, go into the Tools menu, and if you see here, you've got Photoshop Services. Now, if you go down, you'll see Online Backup. So that's what you want to pick to go into Iron Mountain. So you choose that, and that's going to open up a window. And inside this window, you'll see all about Iron Mountain and how to back up your photos. But what's nice about it is you'll see register for a free 30-day trial. So you don't have to do anything, just register. You can try it for free. So I'm going to click that button. Now, after you do that, you need to choose a plan. So probably the most popular plans are going to be the 1 gig to 5 gig plans, but it does go up to 20. So I'm just going to click register on the basic plan here. Now, after you choose a basic plan, you're going to be asked to agree to a service license agreement, and all you need to do is just click next on that page. And now you get to the page where you have to enter your contact info and your billing information. Here's the thing, though. Enter your contact info and your billing information. You do have to pay, but you get 30 days for free, and if you don't like it, you can always cancel in that first 30 days. So that's where the free 30-day trial comes in. Once you do that, press submit, And then you're going to be taken to a window that's going to direct you to a download. Now, you can download this. It's a quick download right on your computer, and you'll be asked to download. It's called the Data Protector. So you can either open it or save it. So save that onto your hard drive. Wait for the download to finish. Now, when it's done, you just need to install the software. And that's pretty easy. Just when you start running the software, you just click Install, and it actually installs it on your computer, and it takes literally like 10 seconds to put it on there. Now, after you install it, you'll see a configuration window. And this is where you tell the software how and how often you want to back up all your information. So you can tell it to back up nightly, you can tell it to back up at random intervals. You've got all the different options. You can do it, every week, every day, whatever suits your workflow here. So here's where you tell how you want to back up and when you want to back up all of your files. Now the next step involves picking the files that you want to back up. You got two options here. You can tell it back up every image on my hard drive. The other option is you just point it to a very specific folder or folders and tell it you want to just back up those folders or those specific images.
Which is more likely what you're going to wind up doing.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want every single image on your hard drive going there. So after you do that, you pick the ones you want. The software is ready. It's configured. You go into it and you can choose those files. And everything else is pretty much automatic. The Data Protector software takes the backup files and it checks whenever frequency you tell it to. It goes in onto your hard drive and it checks to see when those files are changed. And if they've changed, then when it connects, it'll re-upload it. So that goes back to when you were configuring it and setting it up. You just tell it how often, and it'll do everything for you. So that's pretty much all there is to it. What's really cool about it is it handles the three things that you're probably most concerned about when you're saving your photos, and that is, one, you want them to be safe, secure, so very secure website. It's all safe, and it's off-site, so it's not in your house anymore. You've got an off-site backup of all your photos. The other one is it just gives you the peace of mind that you don't have to worry about it anymore. And lastly, they've got some pretty good prices. So you saw it went up from 1 gig all the way up to 20 gigs. So you got a lot of flexibility in there. And then Scott mentioned earlier, the other cool part about it is if you want to, back up other files. So if you need file sharing done, it's a great way. Set up an account for your company and give everybody a place to share files if they're on the road. So pretty cool stuff.
Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, Matt, for showing us a little of that. Hey, it's time to take a quick break. Stick around. When we come back, I brought a tutorial, and we've got some other fun stuff. We've got contests. We've got Matt's interview and a whole bunch more right here on Adobe Photoshop TV. Stick around. We'll be right back. We're back. I'm Scott Kelby. Joining me is Dave Cross. But over in the Storm Team News Center is Matt Kloskowski, bringing you the latest in Photoshop news, weather, and sports. Here's Matt.
It's Photoshop news from the Action News Storm Team with Matt Kloskowski. He's rocking the housekey.
Welcome to our very patriotic edition of the Photoshop news this week. Now, I wasn't here for our Memorial Day episode a few weeks ago, so this is my thank you to everybody out there who has served or serves our country. Anyway, so thank you. Now, the news this week is sponsored by Peach Pit. If you go to peachpit.com/Photoshop TV, there's a book 35% discount, and you get free shipping, so go check that out. Okay, so first up this week, Adobe speaks up about Go Live and Freehand. Now, this is actually via John Knack's blog, and he talks about the confusion that came around some rumors that bounced around that Adobe was going to discontinue Go Live and discontinue Freehand. So here's the actual question from Adobe, and this is straight from their mouth. The question is Adobe going to discontinue Go Live and Freehand? The answer is no. It plans to continue support for Go Live and Freehand and develop these products based on our customers' needs. So that's the answer right there. You can go to John Knack's blog. It's actually blogs.adobe.com, and you can read more about it there. Next, Complete Digital Photography has released a set of new tools, and these tools enable you to manage multiple versions of raw files. So you can go to CompleteDigitalPhotography.com and find out some more information. And finally, Adobe Proxy has just been released. This is a new version of Adobe Proxy, and that's their quarterly design publication. So you can always go to adobeproxy.com and you can download it. It's in PDF form. That's it for the news this week. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you, Matt, for doing
Whoa, I'm back. Wow.
Again, almost weekly by magic.
How did you get back so quickly from the Storm Team News Center?
It's really not that
that
far
new
away.
segue that we got him that he can zoom along. And
The Weather Center. All right.
Back to you guys for Doppler radar.
now that the news is done, you have a little something for us, I imagine?
That's exactly what it is, a little something.
That's
I've
always
got
good.
a little something for you. It is a tutorial for photographers. It is a tutorial that deals with a lens problem called edge vignetting. That happens when you have a photograph where you look at the photograph and in the edges of the image, there are dark corners, basically. And in Photoshop CS2, Adobe introduced a new tool that helps you to deal with that. And there was actually a tool to deal with it for RAW, and I'll show you that too, but that's a little bit later on. But first, we're going to start off with just you doing the JPEG version. All right, so here's the image we're going to look at. And as Dave Cross noted just a moment ago, this cloud looks like a bunny. It's a bunny. He's pointing out, that's the little bunny tail. I got it. Okay, all right. So,
Or it looks like a cloud you made with my tutorial, one of the
or it
other.
looks like a cloud made with Dave's tutorial.
I thought it did.
Okay, so we have this image, and in the corners, you can see what's darker in that corner and darker in this corner, darker in this corner. Sometimes you don't realize how dark it is until you actually remove the vignetting. So to remove the vignetting, and again, you have to do this in Photoshop CS2, at least the first part of this, go under the Filter menu, under Distort, and choose Lens Correction. And it's going to bring up a very large dialog box called the Large Dialog Box. Here it is right here. Just off the screen where you can't see is a little thing called Show Grid. It's on by default. It's that annoying grid that appears right here. But we're going to turn it off because it's annoying. All right, now, so you can really see the dark edges here. All you're going to do is go over here to the Vignette slider. And you're going to literally just simply drag to the right. Now, there's not a particular number that you're looking for. What you're going to do is look in the edges and try to make the corners match the rest of the photo. So I'm just going to kind of drag it here and see how it's lightening up. Just a little bit more, maybe. Something right in there, maybe. All right, now, so all I did was go to the vignette. Here, I'll just zoom in so you can see a little better. There we go. Now it's huge. So all you're going to do is go right here and just drag this slider to the right to let you be able to see what it looks like. We'll click OK and look at the difference. Now I'm going to do an undo and a redo. So I'm using the keyboard shortcut. Command-Z on Mac or on PC would be Control-Z. So you can see before and after. Watch. Here's before and after. You can see how much vignetting came from the lens right there. Now, that's how it's done in just a JPEG, but you can also do this if you use a RAW image. Let me go ahead and open up a RAW image, and let me resize the dialog box so it fits a little better. And by a little better, I mean just a little. But here's another image that has slight edge vignetting, not nearly as bad as the other image, but there's some edge vignetting up here and up here and here in the picture of this wedding cake. I'm going to slide this over so you can see. To get rid of that edge vignetting, and by the way, you can do this not just in Photoshop CS2, but in Photoshop CS. And I'm not sure if it was in the plugin that you could download for Photoshop 7 or not, because I didn't do my research. But we're going to go to the Lens tab right there.
It was, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's Matt Kleskowski.
Just thought I'd add that.
I appreciate you adding that in. Okay, so the research department at Photoshop TV. All right.
News and research.
Here is the vignetting slider once again. So all you're going to do is you're going to grab it and drag to the right and just look in that corner. Now this one I don't think needs nearly as much vignetting. If you go too far, you'll see I've gone too far.
Reverse vignetting.
It'll be pretty, reverse vignetting. You'll be pretty obvious. But maybe something in there like that. Then we're going to go ahead and open the photo, which is off the screen. But if you watch my cursor down that way, hey, let me just do this for fun. Whee! I do that because sometimes my cursor gets, for some reason on my machine, my cursor goes crazy, and I don't have to tell longtime viewers of that. They always go, why does Scott cursor go crazy? I don't know. All right, so here it is, and we'll look at, we can't really look at it before and after, can we? You just have to go, wow.
Yeah, that's much better.
Hit the little rewind button on iTunes.
Yeah, that is better. So there, no, actually, I can reopen the raw file again. See, that's like that's not worth a darn, is it? Okay, here we go. No, I have a plan. I have a plan. It's not a good plan. I'm going to turn the preview off. Thank you very much. All right, so see, now it kept the settings from before. So you can see if I go back here, you can see the edge vignetting.
The beauty of raw.
The beauty of raw. We're going to go over here, and we'll crank it back up at 20-something. Not that much. Maybe somewhere in there. Then you just turn off the preview, hit the letter P. There, you can see it. But not at all. Come on now. Well, let's try. Let's be more extreme up here. Come on. Preview. Okay, not really. Yeah, this is just a stinking tutorial. Don't even try this.
You know what's happening is because it's previewing between the one that had the vignetting already on, because that's just the way it works.
That was a close one. All right. Now, what I am going to do for you, because I feel so badly about that little guffaw that Dave Cross just pointed out publicly and humiliating me, is I'm going to make one of these files downloadable for you. Unfortunately, that file's 20 megs, so I won't make that one downloadable. This one's an easy one. It's a JPEG. It's probably like 300-400K or something. When it's maybe not even that much. Let's see. I'll tell you how much it is, because why not? 328K.
Hey,
it's a 328K file. I'll go ahead and make this available for you on the Photoshop TV site, so you can download it and try one. So you can pretend that. But if you have a raw photo, you're on your own. Okay. Hey, what a great tutorial that was. Thanks for helping me out there, Mr. Crossan.
Can I add to that?
Oh, please do. Yes. Oh, yes.
You know,
I beg you.
This wasn't planned, but so you went into the lens correction filter. Can I show them a little unknown little tip inside lens correction?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
What do you think he's going to say? No?
No more tips.
No, go home.
We hate tips.
So let's say you've got a photo that has a crooked horizon. Now you may know this already, because I did this way back in like the first episode.
Didn't you do
this? It was a long time ago. We picked up a lot of people since then.
Episode 4, I believe.
If they haven't gone back and watched, I'm sure there's people out there that haven't seen it. So what you do is, let's say you've got a crooked photo, go under the filter menu, right to where Scott went, to lens correction. And inside there, you will see that all these weird-looking tools, but look at that, the straighten tool. So take the straighten tool, and all you got to do is click and drag along a surface that should be straight, and Photoshop straightens it for you. Now, you can't see it down here, but way at the very bottom, all the way down here, is a setting called scale. And you can probably get away with 5 or 10%, depending on the size of your photo.
Yeah, scale it up to get rid of those corners,
and get rid of that transparency in there. So just a little...
Well, thanks.
That's actually I thought of while you were in there.
Actually much better than my tip, man. Thanks. Dave, you want anything else to kind of
Hey, and on top of that...
I got one even better. All right, guys. Well, hey, what we're going to do now is we're going to throw things over to Matt once again, because Matt's just not getting enough airtime today. He was out at Adobe just a couple of weeks ago and did a really great interview, and he got a chance to sit down with John Knack. And John Knack is product manager for Photoshop, and just
a couple of the architects.
Yeah, a couple of the architects as well. And John's got a great blog, John Knack's blog at Adobe. Not all the Adobe people, but 7 of them. No, a lot of Adobe people have their own blogs, and we read them every day because we have nothing else to do. But they're great. John's, I think in particular, is like one of my favorites, because I go there every day and cry. So anyway, we've got a great interview, and Matt's there. So. Well, I don't know why I'm looking at you.
I'll take us there.
Take us there.
All right,
Matt.
Let's go to my interview.
Yeah, John's a web guy. I actually came to Photoshop having used it for some number of years and being a pre-Photoshop chemical photographer person. And so I came here because I thought it would be a cool thing to work on.
That's very cool.
Using it. and different people in the group, just like there are different customer segments who use it for all kinds of different things. There's different people within the group. I'm feel much more in the mainstream this year than I did 4 years ago.
When it was all getting your gift dithered correctly.
Right.
How many colors do you get really?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And what's cool about it is it's almost like that Lightroom, the new Lightroom philosophy is by photographers for photographers, but it helps that the people creating Photoshop are actually use the program and know. Yeah, have been in the trenches before and know what.
At the end of the day, it's about getting things done. It's about getting out of the way of the user's creativity. Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the coolest things I've seen are going to the Photoshop conferences and seeing some of the really wacky things people have done with the program.
I hear that Matt Kloskowski guy at Photoshop World does some good stuff.
I don't know.
That's who he was talking about, wasn't it? I know. Shh, don't tell me.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that is really that everybody eventually realizes is that if you're here for a while, you will hear every single engineer on the team and every single product marketing person at one time or another say, I didn't know it could do that.
It's true. I went to an Epson Print Academy thing the other day, and it's like, I guess I view Photoshop as sort of this, it's like a produce aisle or something, where you've got all these different kinds of ingredients and seasonings and things, and there's almost an infinite number of ways you can combine them. And I saw people doing things like, they're doing a threshold and then they're canceling and they're setting these, it's like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. And second of all, why is it obscure like that? Couldn't we make that easier?
Are you talking about the gray point?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just something I never had occasion to do. A lot of other people knew it already. And that's the kind of thing where, I thought it was cool that I think about 20 people from the team took their Saturday and trekked up to San Francisco and spent 8 hours listening to people go off about printing and color science, and we were happy to do it, mm-hmm. and I think we're all really fortunate to work on a product like that. Not everybody has that.
Yeah, definitely.
That kind of outcome to the work.
Very cool. Now, the last thing I got to ask is, and people out there will kill me if I don't ask this, but
edging out.
It's not intentional. Excuse me. Yeah.
So the last thing
where you're going with this.
And everybody talk toward them. So the last thing I got to ask here is, CS2 has been out for about a year, and obviously there's some future to Photoshop. So can we get any kind of a glimpse as what the future holds, or?
Well, these guys are the architects.
Can we get any kind of a glimpse as to what the future holds?
Well, of course, the first priority is always new transient witticisms.
Yeah. Yeah. Exercise for the user at home to go find them.
Right. Easter eggs, all Easter eggs.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
I think one major direction we're going to be seeing in photography over the next few years is going to be HDR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as that goes from something you have to set up the shots with to cameras that can capture it directly, I'm hoping we see those sometime soon, because I think it just expands what you can capture in the field. Gives you a lot more freedom about what you can grab.
Two things I would mention is, one is a directional thing. As I mentioned, smart objects I think are a really powerful foundation for building more stuff on, just like layers, adjustment layers, and so on were before them. And then one really specific thing that we have really targeted this time, it's been a customer request, is launch time.
Yeah, it's funny. That's the interesting thing with a product that's been on the market for 16 years. It's this interesting mix of the really, really high-end new image science, 32-bit HDR, smart objects, non-destructive, and then the incredibly basic little stuff. My anecdote is, when I first started, we launched Photoshop 7. And the two things I'd show that got the biggest applause, one was the healing brush, mm-hmm. which was totally Buck Rogers image science. Nobody had ever seen this. Really cool. The other thing, completely on the other end of the spectrum, was that when you would double-click a layer in the layers palette, you could just type the name right there, which is just completely, 101 stuff. Yeah. But people are doing it 30, 40, 100 times a day. Yeah. And so I think for us directionally, the big challenge is, we need to grow the product, as always. We need to address people's needs better and better. At the same time, how do we keep how do we keep the product from just becoming impossibly complex? You know, can we have the best of both worlds, where you're making it at once much more powerful, but on the other hand, much more simple? And a lot of times those two vectors are pulling in opposite directions. But I really feel like a lot of the work we've been doing the last couple cycles will start to come to fruition now in a much bigger way. And I think that's the really exciting challenge for us going forward.
Yeah, we always try to get a balance of now with super wonderful mega feature, you know, that we can put some of those on the box,
right,
and the little rename layers in line, the things that have been
right,
bugging people, launch time, whatever, things that have been bugging people or that people, longtime users will really appreciate.
Taking 5 mouse clicks down to 1.
Totally. Yeah. So let us know what those are. You know, I posted a blog entry the other day, and Word was doing this bizarre, inscrutable thing to me, and you know, those are the things that it can be a little hard for us to see with fresh eyes. You know, it's always done that. Here's why it does that. You know, we need folks to come in and say, hey, "Come on, can't you do a little better on that?" And believe me, we hear plenty of those, but we always want to hear more.
What's your blog address, by the way?
It's just blogs.adobe.com.
Okay. Well, and you know, what all you guys were saying, I mean, I know I appreciate it. I know the people out there appreciate that you guys know that that's what we're after. You know, again, we don't want the lights to go off.
Don't need the lights to go off again.
No, I know. I mean, we appreciate that you guys appreciate what everybody is after. You know, just like you said, to take 5 clicks down to 1 and things like that. So, again, I'm myself and everybody out there. I know that we all appreciate your work on it. So, but. Well, that's about it. Again, John Knack, Scott Beyer, Russell Williams, thank you for taking time out of your day. And everybody out there, thanks you. And hopefully we'll get you back sometime soon.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Matt. Thanks for that interview.
You're welcome.
There we go.
Hey, thank you to John Knack, Russell Williams, and Scott Beyer for sitting down with me over there. It was very cool to get to talk to them.
Yeah, they're great guys. And it was very, very nice of them to give us some of their time, because they're really busy. These are very, very busy people. Hey, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with you here on Adobe Photoshop TV.
Strata 3D CX. Design at a higher power. Add the power of 3D to your Adobe workflow. Link to Photoshop textures. Import Illustrator artwork. Render to layered Photoshop files. Create photoreal images. Strata 3D CX. Design at a higher power. Visit strata.com.
We're back, and it's contest time.
Yes, it is.
And we're going to throw things over to our master of contests, Mr. Dave Grass.
I've never been called that before, and I hope it never happens again. No, that's quite fine, because I am an MC.
Yes, good. And he said it's fine. Let's call him that from now on. MC Cross.
Well, last week we had a contest where we put up a little dialog box and says, what is missing? And the answer was the none button. And as we always do at this point, we will magically show you the winner was...
Through the magic of post-production.
So that was last week's contest. Now, this week we have a contest, and they're going to win something, I imagine.
Some fabulous prizes. Well, first, they're going to win a DVD called How to Show Your Photos Like a Pro. This particular DVD is by one of my favorite instructors. Me. So it's a DVD basically on how to show your work. That's that. They're going to win a book, Photoshop CS2 Killer Tips, written by our guest last week, Felix Nelson, and
one of your favorite?
Me. And then, of course, we're gonna give you a 1-year subscription to Layers Magazine, the how-to magazine for everything Adobe, published by me. Okay.
It's the Scott Prize.
But we're also going to give you a 1-year membership to the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, the organization run by me. Okay. And no, seriously, hold on.
$20. $2.
$2 from me. All right. Gosh, can we? This is bad because this is not good. Okay, but you get it here. It's a little nice shot of it. You want to throw in a buck or anything? Does it have to all be me?
Here, can I throw on my cell phone?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
With Scott's number on it.
Here, take my wallet.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so hey, real quick. So does if you're already a NAP member, you get to extend your membership for another year too, by the way.
Oh yeah, there you go. If you're already a NAP member, then you get an extra extended.
Can I tell them what you have to do to win?
That would be nice.
Go to photoshoptv.com. If you look on the right-hand side, you will see an area that says Enter Contest or something of the like. Click on that. Enter in, click the little drop-down, say Contest Entry.
Do we have any idea what the question is?
Well, I'm thinking that we might want to tell them that, too. Now that they know how to enter, here's the question that you might want to answer. And the question is, name a keyboard shortcut that is identical on both Mac and Windows. And there's a few possible answers, but it's got to be at least two keys. You can't say like Tab or Spacebar, Matt, because he was guessing before. And he was like, Spacebar, Matt, Escape. No, it has to be two keys together that actually do something. So Matt's already telling you how to enter. So go ahead and enter, and you'll win this fabulous set of prizes.
Excellent. All right, Matt, how many times can people enter?
All right, so let's take this opportunity to talk about a couple of questions here. You can enter one time. You can live anywhere in the world. You can enter. We send prizes everywhere. To Dave Cross brought this up before. John Smith, who asked why he hasn't won yet, that is because there's approximately 5,000 to 6,000 people that enter a week. So
that's not it. We're out to get him.
Yes.
If we see that he won, we just put it back in and we draw again.
Poor John.
I think I handled a lot of the questions there.
That's pretty much the main question.
Wow, that was more than I expected. Okay. Hey, at the end of every show, we like to end with the ending of the show. Now, we like to end with giving you some projects to do between this week's show and next week's show. And so I'll go ahead and start off the project that I'm going to have you do, so you'll have something to do between now and next week, because without this, you would have nothing to do with your life at all. You'd just be at home, like on the couch, crying. We at Layers Magazine, we put together a thing called the Lightroom Learning, the InDesign Advantage Center. Did I say Lightroom Learning Center?
No.
We have one of those, but this is not what I'm talking about. It's the InDesign Advantage Center. I'm just programmed to say Lightroom Learning Center. It's just in me. The InDesign Advantage Center. Go there and check it out. Now, the reason why we came out with the InDesign Advantage Center is because Quark Express 7 shipped. And we've seen both, and we think that you should know the advantages of Adobe InDesign. Not because we're Adobe biased or anything, but... But we use InDesign to do all of our magazines, and we're very, very enamored with it, and we want to show you why. So stop back there. We have about 25 video clips that show you basically the very, very cool things that you need to know about that you may not be hearing in all the clutter that's out there right now. So go check it out at layersmagazine.com. There's a direct link right on the homepage. Matt,
so my to-do this week is over at Photoshop Contest. You can go and join in on a Photoshop contest. So it's
surprisingly.
Wow, really?
So go and join others, submit your images. Pretty cool site to check out. So check it out, photoshopcontest.com.
Awesome. And my site is another place to check is versiontracker.com. It's a great place if you're just trying to keep up, make sure you have the most current, versions of everything. Versiontracker.com.
Mac and Windows?
Mac and Windows, yes,
cool.
Sir.
Excellent. Well, that's it for this week's show. First, want to thank everybody that got us to the 2 million viewer mark. We're very, very excited, and just thank you guys. Also, thanks to all of our sponsors, and we will be back again next week with another salacious episode. On behalf of myself and our Canadian friend, Mr. Cross.
See you next time.
And Matt Kloskowski's rocking the house key. We'll see you guys next week right here on Adobe Photoshop TV.
Thanks for watching Adobe Photoshop TV. See you next week.